Those spearheading Ukraine's ambitious broad reforms program are slowly making headway to overhaul a system plagued by corruption. But what about public concern of graft across the border in Russia? Do ordinary Russians hold President Putin responsible for the rotten apples among the Kremlin's inner circle? This is the question we're going to examine on the press review thanks to Anna Nemtsova, writing for The Daily Beast. She writes, in Ukraine, Joe Biden was flaming on, "I don't think the Russian people understand fully what Putin is doing." Actually, more Russians than Biden think understand only too well what their President Vladimir Putin is up to. But Ukraine is not at the top of their list of concerns at the moment. Before Ukraine, during Ukraine, and most likely after Ukraine, their biggest concern will be corruption inside Russia and, related to that, the fight for reforms. The Daily Beast article highlights opinion poll data published by the NGO Levada Center last month. The research found over a third of respondents believed Putin was liable for, quote, the full extent of corruption. But how worried is the Kremlin leader about national views? Nemtsova writes, now Putin is no fool, and he's not deaf to public opinion, but he seems to think he can manipulate it while making few real changes. So there are no signs that the Kremlin is ready to prosecute or even fire top officials involved in high-level corruption. Indeed, standard operating procedure is still to accuse the accuser. The Daily Beast author argues that changes in Russian politics are unlikely to come from the liberal opposition. That leaves Putin and his inner circle. But not all is lost. Hopes are pinned on the pro-Kremlin liberal wing to lobby to clean up the judiciary and law enforcement and to curb the influence of politicians with relations to the ex-security services. It'll be a tough road ahead, though. Nemtsova writes, even if the ideas of Putin's liberal crew penetrated his thinking, in reality Russia lives with an almost non-existent electoral system, failing competitiveness, centralized political control, and a personalized regime consistently pushing the elite for total support. The article concludes the Kremlin's lack of enthusiasm for reform is well known among ordinary Russians. What they don't know is how to change it. That's all for the press review. This is Ukraine Today.